Your trials were never meant to break you. They were not a sign of failure, nor were they proof of your unworthiness. Every moment of struggle, every sleepless night, every tear that fell in silence was a divine arrangement, a preparation for something far greater than you could have imagined. You did not come into this world to be defeated, to wander aimlessly in sorrow, or to believe that your suffering is endless. No, you were being shaped, refined, prepared for a transformation so great that when it arrives, you will look back and understand why you had to endure what you did. The world teaches lack, but the Spirit knows abundance. The world teaches doubt, but your soul knows faith. Your trials whispered lies to you, telling you that you would never rise, that you would remain stuck in that place of hardship forever. But that was never the truth. The truth is that every difficulty was a test, a molding of your character, a strengthening of your faith. You were being prepared to receive something beyond your understanding. God's millionaire blessings, not just in wealth, but in wisdom, love, and divine favor. Do you not see how the trials refined you, how they made you stronger, more resilient, more aware of who you truly are? The world may have called them misfortunes, but heaven called them preparations. You were never being punished, you were being positioned. Positioned for the overflow, positioned for greatness, positioned for a manifestation so miraculous that you would be unable to explain it by human means. Thirdly, every struggle you faced was designed to shift your perception, to cleanse you of doubt, and to elevate your consciousness to a level where you could finally receive the blessings that were always yours. Nothing was ever taken from you. It was simply being rearranged, refined, and multiplied so that when it returns, it comes back pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Faith does not ask you to beg, it asks you to believe. It asks you to stand in the certainty that the God who allowed the trial is the same God who delivers the reward. You are not forgotten, you are not abandoned. You are standing at the threshold of divine abundance, and what is coming to you now is beyond anything you have ever known. The pain was real. You endured so that you could receive, and now it is your time. You were never meant to live in struggle. You were never meant to dwell in lack. The trials you endured were only a shadow, a passing illusion meant to awaken you to a deeper truth. What if every hardship was a divine setup? What if every door that closed was simply redirecting you to something far greater? You were never denied, only rerouted, only prepared. The suffering was not an end, but a bridge, carrying you to the fulfillment of a promise made before you even entered this world. You see, God does not withhold blessings. It is never a question of whether you are worthy, but whether you are ready. And your trials made you ready. They stripped away doubt. They removed the old self that clung to fear and hesitation. They revealed the strength that was already within you. Every tear was counted, every silent prayer heard. The delays, the disappointments, the moments where you thought nothing would change, none of it was wasted. Everything was aligning, shifting, orchestrating itself in divine perfection. Now, the time of waiting is over. The time of wondering, of questioning, of feeling forgotten is ending. You are stepping into the manifestation of what was always yours, not by force, not by struggle, but by divine right. The blessings that are unfolding in your life now are not just a reward for endurance. They are proof that you have finally become the person who can receive them. Before, you may have doubted your own worthiness. You may have questioned if you were truly meant to live in abundance, in overflow, in divine favor. But those thoughts no longer belong to you. You are no longer the person who struggled to believe. You are no longer the person who looked at obstacles and saw defeat. Now you see differently. Now you know differently. The trials you endured did not weaken you, they awakened you. They removed every illusion of limitation. They burned away every false belief that told you that you were separate from God's infinite abundance. And now as you step forward, you no longer beg for blessings. You recognize that they were already yours. Look at your life now with new eyes. See beyond what the physical world has told you. You are not bound by circumstances. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are walking in divine alignment. You are moving in the flow of favor, of grace, of supernatural provision. You do not chase blessings. Blessings are drawn to you. You do not struggle for success. Success unfolds effortlessly in your presence. What you once prayed for in desperation now finds you with ease. The shift has already happened. What once seemed distant is now near. The struggle was never your destiny. You were always meant to rise, to flourish, to step into a level of abundance so great that it overflows into the lives of others. And now, as you embrace the fullness of what is yours, you no longer doubt, you no longer wait, you simply receive. You receive not as one who is uncertain, not as one who fears it may slip away, but as one who knows beyond all doubt that what is given by divine hands can never be taken. You receive as one who understands that lack was never real, that limitation was only a lesson, that every trial was simply a passageway to your rightful inheritance. You were never waiting for God's blessings. God's blessings were waiting for you to see, to awaken, to become. And now you walk differently. There is no hesitation in your step, no questioning in your heart. You move with the confidence of one who has already arrived. The struggle is no longer your story. The days of barely getting by are no longer your reality. You have entered into a new season, a new consciousness, a new awareness where favor is not something distant, but something as natural as the air you breathe. The very strong faith you have that your favor has always been, you do not force, you do not chase, you do not doubt. You understand now that what is meant for you flows to you, not through effort, not through worry, but through alignment. You no longer pray as one who is separate from abundance, but as one who is one with it. You no longer plead with God for blessings, because you know that God's will for you has always been increase, expansion, and overflow. Every delay you once mourned, every closed door you once questioned, now reveals itself as divine wisdom. What you thought was rejection was protection. What you thought was loss was preparation. Everything has worked for your good. Everything has led you here. And now you stand in the reality of answered prayers, not as a beggar, but as an heir. Not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. Your trials never defined you, they refined you. They stripped away everything that was too small for the life you were meant to live. You were never meant to live in scarcity. You were never meant to live in doubt. You were never meant to question your worth. You were created for this moment, for this realization, for this expansion into the fullness of what has always been yours. And now you lift your head and you see clearly. Now you step forward and you move with certainty. Now you open your hands and you receive without fear. The time of struggle has ended. The season of lack is over. You have stepped into a new reality, a divine truth, a life where abundance is not something you wait for, it is something you embody. It is something you have always been destined to experience. For there, in this cave, you have found not reality, but in the truth, a vibrational connection to infinite. You no longer cling to the past, for the past was merely the shaping of the vessel. The fire you walked through was not meant to destroy you, but to refine you, to burn away every false belief, every doubt, every fear that kept you small. The weight you carried, the burdens you bore, the nights when you whispered prayers into the darkness, all of it was seen. Not a single tear was lost. Not a single moment of pain was wasted. Everything was recorded in the unseen, preparing the way for the blessing that now stands before you. And now you recognize that you were never without. Even in the moments when your hands felt empty, even in the seasons where doors seemed to close, even when you felt forgotten, heaven was moving. Heaven was rearranging, orchestrating, aligning every event, every delay, every hardship, so that when your blessing arrived, you would not just receive it, you would be prepared for it. You would be able to hold it, to sustain it, to multiply it. The tests were necessary not as punishment, but as preparation. You were never meant to merely survive, you were meant to thrive. You were never meant to scrape by in desperation, waiting for miracles. You were meant to stand in the certainty that miracles surround you, that favor is your natural state, that abundance is your inheritance. No longer do you look at your life through the lens of struggle. No longer do you wonder if you are enough. You know now that you have always been enough, that you have always been worthy, that the trials were never proof of your weakness but of your strength. The shift has already happened. The tide has already turned. The very things you once prayed for in whispers will now flood into your life with unstoppable force. What once seemed distant is now at your door. What once seemed impossible is now your reality. You have stepped into a flow where blessings find you effortlessly, where opportunities unfold without struggle, where favor surrounds you like a shield. You do not need to ask how or when, for you understand now that divine timing is never late, never rushed, always perfect. Everything arrives exactly as it should, exactly when you are ready to receive it. You are no longer waiting, you are walking in it. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. The unseen is becoming seen. The promises are becoming tangible, and you, the one who once wondered if the struggle would ever end, are now stepping fully into the life that was always meant for you. You no longer question whether you are deserving, for you see now that you were chosen long before you ever faced a single obstacle. The trials were never a sign that you were forgotten. They were the proof that you were being shaped for something greater than you could have imagined. Every season of waiting, every moment of uncertainty, every door that seemed to remain shut was never meant to discourage you. It was meant to prepare you for the magnitude of what is now unfolding. You were not being delayed, you were being refined. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. The tests were not to break you, but to make you unshakable. They were building within you a strength, a faith, a certainty that cannot be moved by circumstances, that cannot be swayed by temporary setbacks. And now you see clearly. You understand that the waiting was never wasted time. It was the foundation upon which your blessings would stand. You shall stand as a return. And now abundance flows to you in ways you could never have forced, in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. The blessings are not coming, they are here. They are appearing not through struggle, not through effort, but through alignment. You are no longer striving, you are receiving. You are no longer chasing, you are attracting. What once felt far away now feels natural, effortless, inevitable. You do not need to convince yourself any longer, for you have seen the evidence. You have walked through the fire and emerged untouched. You have endured the storm and now stand beneath an open heaven. You no longer see lack, for you understand that there was never any lack, only a temporary illusion that blinded you to the fullness of what was already yours. Now your eyes are open. Now your heart is ready. Now your hands stretch forth, not in desperation, but in expectation. Everything is aligning. Every blessing that was prepared for you before time began is now being released. Not because you fought harder, not because you proved yourself, but because you finally stepped into the awareness that it was always yours. And as you embrace this truth, as you walk in this knowing, you will see miracles unfold, not as something rare, but as something natural. You will see doors open, not with force, but with ease. You will see favor chase you down, not because you struggle for it, but because it is your divine inheritance. You are no longer waiting, you are no longer hoping, you are standing in the promise, walking in the manifestation, living in the overflow. Everything that was once uncertain is now undeniable. Everything that was once delayed is now arriving. The trials were the test, but now the blessings are the testimony. The preparation is complete. The season has shifted. The abundance has begun. You stand now in the reality of all that was promised, not as one who is surprised, but as one who always knew deep within that this moment would come. The trials that once seemed like barriers were never meant to stop you. They were only there to prove to you what was already within you. The resilience, the faith, the unwavering knowing that you were created for more. You have looked at life through the eyes of lack, through the lens of struggle, but now you see with new vision. You see that everything was unfolding exactly as it needed to, that nothing was ever truly lost, that even the moments of pain were working for your elevation. The suffering did not define you, it revealed you. It stripped away doubt, broke apart fear, and left behind only the unshakable truth that you were never alone, never forgotten, never without the favor of divine hands upon your life. And now you walk into this new season without hesitation, without apology, without fear. You do not ask if you are worthy, for you know now that you are always worthy. You do not shrink in doubt, for you have seen how every moment of uncertainty was transformed into evidence of divine provision. You do not question if this is real, for you have felt the shift within you, the awakening, the deep certainty that abundance is not something you earn, it is something you awaken to. The past no longer holds you. The memories of struggle do not bind you. You do not carry the weight of what was, for you understand now that it was only the foundation for what is. You no longer replay the moments of hardship, for they no longer define you. The suffering was not your identity. The lack was not your destiny. You see now that even in the wilderness, you were being guided. Even in the waiting, you were being strengthened. And now, the season of waiting is over. You are not stepping into favor. You are realizing that favor was always yours. You are not receiving a blessing. You are becoming aware that the blessing was never withheld. The divine does not give in pieces, does not delay out of reluctance, does not withhold out of judgment. The divine only waits until you are ready, until you can see clearly, until you can step into the fullness of your inheritance, without fear, without hesitation, without disbelief. The moment you stopped questioning, the moment you stopped doubting, the moment you embraced the truth that abundance was always within your reach, the shift happened. What you once begged for now appears effortlessly. What once seemed impossible now unfolds before you with ease. What once felt distant now feels familiar, as if it had been waiting for you all along, waiting for you to awaken, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to realize that the power to receive was always in your hands. As you move forward, you do so with a new understanding, a new awareness, a new certainty. You no longer chase, you no longer plead, you no longer ask from a place of desperation. You declare, you expect, you walk in the knowing that every resource you need, every opportunity meant for you, every door designed to open, is already aligned in your favor. The moment you surrendered the struggle, the moment you released the need to force, the moment you trusted that the divine plan was always for your expansion, everything shifted. You have not been forgotten, you have not been overlooked, you have not been passed by. The trials were not the end of your story. The struggle was not the conclusion. The waiting was not a punishment. Everything was working in divine order, leading you here, shaping you for the magnitude of what is now unfolding. And now, as the blessings pour in, as the opportunities arise, as the abundance flows, you do not question if it is real. You do not wonder if it will last. You do not fear that it will be taken away. You have been prepared for this. You have been strengthened for this. You have been positioned for this. Every battle you fought, every night you prayed, every moment you refused to give up, all of it has led you to this moment, this revelation, this undeniable truth that lack was never real, that delay was never denial, that everything you have ever needed has always been within you, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to step into it, waiting for you to say, it is done. And now you move differently. The weight of the past is no longer on your shoulders. The mindset of struggle is no longer your reality. You do not think like one who is waiting. You think like one who has arrived. You do not speak like one who is uncertain. You speak like one who knows. The words you once spoke in hesitation, you now declare with power. The prayers you once whispered in doubt, you now proclaim with certainty. The life you once dreamed of, you now live with boldness, with confidence, with the full awareness that it was never a matter of if, it was only a matter of when. The doors that once seemed closed now open before you effortlessly. The resources you once longed for now flow to you without resistance. The opportunities that once fell beyond your reach now find you with divine precision. There is no struggle in this season. There is no delay. There is no hesitation. Everything is aligning. Everything is manifesting. Everything is unfolding exactly as it was meant to, and you stand in the center of it. Not as one who is surprised, but as one who always knew. You no longer question whether you are ready, for you have been prepared. You no longer wonder if it is possible, for you see now that it was always destined. You no longer fear that it will be taken away, for you understand that what is given by divine hands is never lost, never diminished, never stolen. It only grows, it only expands, it only increases. And you, the one who once doubted, the one who once struggled, the one who once feared it would never come, now stand in the fullness of all that was promised, all that was prepared, all that has always been yours. You have entered into a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of receiving, no longer bound by the limitations of the past, no longer held back by the beliefs of lack, no longer waiting for permission to step into what has always been your divine right. You walk now with the confidence of one who knows, with the certainty of one who sees, with the faith of one who has already received. And as you move forward, you do so without looking back, without carrying the weight of what was, without allowing the shadows of the past to follow you into this new reality. The struggle is over, the waiting has ended, the time of uncertainty is past. You are in the season of overflow, the season of divine abundance, the season where you no longer hope for blessings, you walk in them. You no longer reach for favor, you embody it. You no longer wonder if your trials had meaning. You know now that they were only the bridge to something greater, something destined, something unstoppable. And so you step forward, not as one who is uncertain, not as one who is hesitant, but as one who is fully awake, fully aware, fully aligned with the truth that you were never meant to struggle, never meant to lack, never meant to wonder if you were worthy. You were always meant for more. You were always meant to rise. You were always meant to receive. And now you do. You no longer carry the weight of waiting, the burden of questioning, the chains of uncertainty. You stand as one who has seen the power of persistence, the fulfillment of divine timing, the manifestation of all that was promised. The moment you stopped asking if it would come, the moment you believed beyond sight, the moment you trusted without conditions, everything shifted. There is no hesitation in your steps, no fear in your heart, no resistance in your spirit. You do not look to the past with sorrow, for you see now that it was all necessary. Every delay, every setback, every moment of silence was never meant to break you, it was meant to build you. The trials were not a punishment, they were preparation. The waiting was not abandonment, it was alignment. And now as you step into the season that was always meant for you, you do so with the wisdom of one who understands. You understand now that blessings are not granted by effort alone, but by awareness. You understand that you never had to beg for what was already yours. You understand that the struggle was never to earn favor, but to realize you already carried it. And now you no longer approach life as one who must fight for abundance, but as one who walks in it naturally. The energy of lack has left you. The mindset of struggle has dissolved. The belief in limitations has disappeared. You have entered a new frequency, a new state of being, a new consciousness where everything flows effortlessly. The doors that once seemed impossible to open now swing wide before you. The wealth that once felt unreachable now follows you. The opportunities that once seemed reserved for others now seek you out. You have become magnetic to everything that aligns with the fullness of your purpose. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer doubt, you expect. You no longer wait, you receive. The abundance that surrounds you is not temporary, it is not fleeting, it is not something that can be taken away. It is yours because it was always meant for you. It is yours because it was already written. It is yours because you have aligned yourself with the divine truth that you were created for more. There is no need to grasp, no need to hold on in fear, no need to question whether it will last. The source from which it comes is infinite, and you are now connected to that infinite flow. Your trials have only increased your capacity. The challenges have only expanded your understanding. What once felt like struggle was only the stretching of your faith, the strengthening of your spirit, the preparation for a life far greater than you had imagined. And now that you have seen, now that you have experienced, now that you have stepped into the evidence of all that was promised, you can never go back. You can never shrink. You can never doubt again. There is a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new way of existing that is now yours. The days of questioning are over. The days of striving are over. The days of wondering when your time will come are over. The time is now. The blessings are here. The abundance is flowing. The vision you once carried in your heart is no longer a distant dream. It is yours. And as you walk forward, as you move in this new season, as you receive all that was always meant for you, you do so with confidence, with peace, with the absolute knowing that you were never forgotten, never overlooked, never abandoned. You were being prepared, you were being positioned, you were being refined, and now you are ready. Now you receive. Now you step fully into the millionaire blessings, into the divine overflow, into the limitless abundance that has always been your birthright. You do not step into this new reality as a stranger. It feels familiar because it was always yours. It was never outside of you, never distant, never beyond your reach. It was waiting for you to become the person who could hold it, who could carry it, who could live it fully. Every trial shaped you, every delay refined you, every setback taught you. You do not walk as one who stumbled into abundance by chance, but as one who was called, one who was chosen, one who was destined. My name is Irving. Look around you now. What once felt like lack has been replaced with overflow. What once felt like delay has revealed itself as divine timing. What once felt like rejection was protection, guidance, redirection towards something greater than you ever imagined. You no longer mourn what was lost because you understand now it was never meant to stay. The things that left, the doors that closed, the people who walked away were all part of a necessary unfolding. Had they remained, you would not have stepped into the fullness of this blessing. You no longer ask why it took so long. You no longer question why you had to struggle. You see now that nothing was wasted. No tear, no moment of frustration, no silent prayer in the darkness was ever in vain. Every single piece of your journey was building toward this moment. And now you stand in it, not as one who is surprised by the blessing, but as one who always knew it was coming. You never stopped believing, never stopped holding on to the vision, never let go of the promise, and now it is here. You have entered a new reality where effort is replaced with ease, where striving is replaced with flow, where struggle is replaced with grace. You do not have to force what is meant for you. You do not have to beg for what is already yours. You are no longer operating in the energy of lack, no longer thinking small, no longer living as though you are separate from your abundance. The wealth, the opportunities, the favor that now surround you were always meant for you. And now you have become the person who can hold them. There is no hesitation, no fear, no questioning whether you deserve it. You are walking in your inheritance. You are stepping into what was already written, already planned, already aligned in your favor. And as you move forward, you do so with the confidence of one who has already won, one who has already overcome, one who has already stepped into the divine flow of unlimited blessings. You do not shrink in this season. You do not apologize for your blessings. You do not question whether you are worthy. You are here because you endured, because you trusted, because you did not give up when the road was difficult. You are here because you believed, because you held on to faith when everything around you told you to let go. And now you see the evidence of what faith can do, of what patience can birth, of what divine timing can manifest. This is not just for a moment. This is not temporary. This is the life you were always meant to live. The struggles you once faced, the pain you once endured, the moments of uncertainty are no longer your reality. They were simply the bridge that brought you here. And now that bridge is behind you. Now you stand firmly in the promise, fully immersed in the manifestation, completely aligned with the divine abundance that has always belonged to you. Hello, anyone who would like to share this light? Please raise your hand. This is Alistair Curry. You do not return to old ways of thinking. You do not entertain old patterns of doubt. You do not step back into smallness. You have seen too much, experienced too much, grown too much to ever shrink again. You move forward in certainty, knowing that this is only the beginning. The abundance you see now is just a glimpse of what is to come. The favor you experience now is just the start of something even greater. The blessings that are unfolding before you are not just for this moment. They are the foundation of a new way of life. You are not limited by what you see now. You are not confined by what has already been given. There is more. There is always more. You do not place restrictions on a limitless source. You do not allow past experiences to dictate future possibilities. You live in a state of constant expansion, constant growth, constant receiving. You do not chase, you do not strive, you do not force. You simply align, you simply receive. You simply trust that what is meant for you flows to you effortlessly. There is no struggle in this new season. There is no fear, no anxiety, no need to control. You move with the assurance of one who knows the truth, that everything is always working in your favor, that even when you do not see it, even when you do not understand it, even when the path ahead is unclear, you are always being guided, always being positioned, always being prepared for something greater. And now you are walking in the reality of that greater. The blessings that are unfolding in your life are not random. They are not coincidences. They are not accidental. They are the direct result of your faith, your patience, your unwavering belief that something greater was always on the way. And now that it has arrived, you embrace it fully. You do not second guess it. Do not question whether it is real. Do not fear that it will be taken away. It is yours, not because you earned it through struggle, but because you aligned yourself with it. You are no longer bound by old limitations. You are no longer trapped by old fears. You are no longer living in the mindset of scarcity. You have stepped into the fullness of abundance, and there is no going back. You do not hold on to past pain. Do not dwell on past mistakes. Do not allow past disappointments to cloud your vision of the future. You have been made new, transformed, elevated into a new way of being, a new level of receiving, a new dimension of living. You see things differently now. You move differently. You speak differently. You expect differently. You no longer wonder if good things are coming. You know they are. You no longer fear that blessings will be temporary. You understand that they are eternal. You no longer think in terms of lack. You live in the frequency of overflow. The life that once felt impossible, the dreams that once seemed out of reach, the visions that once felt distant are now your reality. You no longer hope for them, no longer wish for them, no longer wait for them. You live in them. You walk in them. You embrace them fully, knowing that they were always meant for you. There is nothing missing, nothing lacking, nothing incomplete. You have stepped into a season of divine wholeness, divine abundance, divine fulfillment. The doors that were once closed are now open. The opportunities that once seemed unattainable are now presenting themselves freely. The life you once only imagined is now unfolding before you. You do not apologize for this season. You do not feel guilty for receiving. You do not shrink to make others comfortable. You walk boldly, confidently, unapologetically in the fullness of what is yours. You are a living example of what faith can do, of what patience can manifest, of what divine alignment can produce. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. You have not been denied. Everything that is happening now, everything that is unfolding, everything that is flowing into your life is the evidence that you were always chosen, always destined, always called for something greater. And now you are living it. Now you are receiving it. Now you are walking fully in the blessings that were always meant for you. You stand now in the fullness of your destiny, no longer questioning, no longer doubting, but embracing all that was always meant for you. The trials that once seemed unbearable have become the very foundation of your abundance. The struggles that once tested your faith have only strengthened your certainty. Every moment of waiting, every season of hardship, every unanswered question has led you to this place of divine overflow. So walk forward with confidence, knowing that nothing was wasted, that every step was ordered, and that your blessings are not fleeting but eternal. You are no longer striving, you are receiving. No longer hoping, you are knowing. No longer waiting, you are living in the reality of God's promises. The doors are open, the way is clear, and the abundance before you is only the beginning. You have been prepared for this, you have been positioned for this, and now it is time to step fully into the life that was always yours. Receive it with joy, walk in it with gratitude, and know that God's hand is upon you, guiding, blessing, and multiplying all that you touch. This is your time, this is your season, this is the fulfillment of the promise.